Brilliant. So we now move from stable coins to a slightly different potential opportunity in the Argentinian space around decentralized digital identity. And I'm very excited that Alfonso from Quark ID, which we heard a little bit about from Diego earlier, to join us today. Hey, Alfonso, how are you?
Hi, James, and hi, everybody. Thank you for having me here. I'm very happy to be here, and thank you to the new team also to push this out. Thank you.
Fantastic.
So,
Yours to tell us about Quark ID.
Yeah, well, Diego was talking before about some highlights about Quark ID, and I want to do like I'll double click there and start to talk about more technically about it. First of all, this is a call to action. Tomorrow we are hosting a workshop on the move, Buenos. So Santi will be there and some from the team too. So it's an open invitation to everybody to move your teams there. And we are going to do like an intro and of course a workshop, technical workshop, to see how to build on Quark ID. So we are expecting builders and enthusiasts. So say that I have a presentation. Let me see how to share screen. This one. Okay. I will. Do you have my screen now?
Yeah, it's perfect. We can see.
Perfect. Well, as part of the Buenos Aires City government team and now Quark ID team, our challenge was to move like from the analog trust that we have in the real life and the digital world to a digital trust framework. So when we start building this with Diego and a lot of people from like the Argentina and Latin American community, we have like this big challenge. We have to have like a huge digital trust framework and they stop using this analog trust that we have in the real world. That was our challenge. We need to create a digital framework to reduce costs, of course, the transactions and improve interoperability, to give us, of course, as users, the sovereignty over our information. That's the main thing that when we start working this in 2022, maybe the first users and people in the crypto community might remember us as Tango ID in the first place, but now it's Quark ID. And also what Diego says, it's now we are like we have already done like a lot of milestones accomplished. So now we are in the best stage of the project because a lot of protocols, a lot of companies are trying to anchor with us. So that's what I will talk about later. But mainly what is Quark ID? And we like to talk about Quark ID in two different ways. So people can imagine that, okay, it's in backend, it's like a public framework or digital trust. But what the users or the last users will see, it's in the front end, you will see like it's a wallet where you will find your verified credentials. And it will be, of course, any compatible wallet that will use our standards or our protocol. So you might not use in the future only Quark ID wallet. You can use, I don't know, Xcapit wallet, MetaMask in the future or wherever that they will have in the future our protocol anchored. So it's not like exclusive for Quark ID. So anybody can use it and it's open source. It's multi-chain and it's, of course, something that everybody can start building and using for the products. So what's happening when we talk about the backend? You know, there is an analog triangle, but here in Quark ID, what we do is like you have the issuer. We suppose that the Buenos Aires City government now is the first and the main issuer that we have anchored on the Quark ID wallet, where you can, of course, download. It's open in Apple Store and Play Store. You can download Quark ID and you will see like Buenos Aires City as a issuer is the first one and now it's the only one. So our call to action is we need to have another issuers like banks, football clubs, gyms, everything. So people will have like another verified credentials in their wallets and not only the Buenos Aires City ones. But we also have, as a issuer, Buenos Aires City government have the verified credentials and the holder is the only one that has the verified credentials in their wallet. So in the real life, what will happen? We will be show our selective disclosure to a verifier that could be a policeman or something in the building, the government building, and the validation will be done with the blockchain and CK Sync. That's our main partner, of our Web3 main partner. We started working on this. I told you guys that this is a multi-chain, but when we start working with another blockchains, we figure out that CK Sync will be or is our main partner because use zero knowledge and the only thing that we use in the blockchain or is like anchored or right on the blockchain is when you create your public key or your identifier, the ID. So that's the only thing that is on chain here in the slides. What you're seeing is what is going on chain and what is going off chain. So on chain, the only thing is going to be on chain is going to be the creation of the DID, of the actualization of the DID. It's an identifier that is associated with cryptography, and it's going to be you will read it like Quark ID, CK sync, and the identifier. Yes, that's the owner identification. But off chain, you will have in your device, in your mobile phone, you will have like verified credentials, and all the information is personal and private. So nobody will see on chain your photo or your data. It's only going to be your DID and the actualizations that may have. In the front end, this is something that we are working on. We are working on the front end with the CK Sync team, building our UX to do it more smoothly. But actually, this is not the last version. But now you have like verified credentials issued by the Buenos Aires city government, that you have the birth certificate, your tax payments. But in the future, we want to have like banks. These are Argentinian examples, sorry. Universities, gymnasts, I don't know, taxes or banks, etc. So the main goal here is that you will carry all your verified credential, all your digital data in the same place, and you will be able to show some aspect of your identity, and that's the thing here is it's super instantly in the QR. So the use cases in the public sector, that's our first goal as Buenos Aires, as a government, as public policy. We have like a car license, birth certificate or marriage certificate or student certificate, and you will show it to a verifier that could be like some policeman or some inspector of the traffic in the streets, and you will show that you are the owner of the documentation, you are the owner of the car that is issued by as a government. So that will be instantly in a few seconds and free, of course. In the private sector, we have like a few use cases. We are talking with several companies and enterprise, actually banks, universities. This is not the last one we have, but we have also signed like some documents with them. They want to use Quark ID for their internal software, so they might have in their systems verified credentials to the users or clients if you are a bank. So they don't have to use the Quark ID wallet. They can use their own system, but using our protocol. But what is happening also in the world? We are not the only ones building this kind of protocols. You have that in the US, the Sovereign, the DIAC in Canada, the IDAS in the UK, in Europe, the Dialans in South Korea, and SingPass in Singapore. But also you have like Polygon ID, Disco that Diego mentioned before. These kind of protocols, if they use the same standards as we do, may facilitate us the interoperation between Quark ID and the Islands in South Korea. For example, if we use the W3C standards. So that's, this is the example of the DIAC that is co-created between public and private sectors as we do. So what will happen? You can interoperate the users. They can select where they carry on or where they grab the verified credentials. They might be in any country, could be Brazil, Argentina, Italy, or a bank or a government. And what you have in the third layer is like this kind of protocols that can interoperate between them. And that will be more easier for the entire ecosystem of the users. We think that this might impact in the entire world, like in 3 years. We went to, funny story, we went to Denver this year and the last year too in 2023. And there were like 7 booths talking about digital identity. And last year there was nobody there. So it's like something that is now quite mainstream. So what we want to do with Quark ID is grab like putting like a digital public good. So the thing here is that we launch like the code. Will open source our code. You can find it on our website in Quark ID, and we are expecting to have like builders creating use cases for us with us, because what we need now is to have like real use cases for users and also for companies, because actually the only one we have is Buenos Aires city government issuing verified credentials, but we also want the users to build their own products and anchored on Quark ID and to interoperate with another ones that we are building. Sorry, I didn't open to Q&A, but I think that we have like now 3 or 2 minutes. I prefer to do the interpretation first.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Alfonso. And we do have a couple of minutes. Sadly,
Okay.
Buembit has had to dash for another meeting. So I have a couple of minutes and then we'll hand it over to Cello. My question is sort of what is I mean, firstly, it's an amazing initiative. There's a lot of excitement in the chat about Quark ID and about the interoperability with lots of other tools that exist, not just in Argentina, but across the region. What is the relationship between some of the stuff we've heard around currencies and stable coins with identity, with universal basic income, and like some of these potential solution spaces, bringing them together in like a coherent but open source and permissionless way so that all boats rise?
Yeah, actually what we are trying to find here, it's building a non-crypto solution using blockchain, but the only thing that you use in blockchain is like the creation of the DID, that is my final identifier, where I will ask the issuer my verified credentials. But in the future, maybe a DeFi protocol may issue a verified credential that you are a holder of some NFTs or a pool or whatever. And we want to facilitate in the Web2 ecosystem and the Web3 too. To the Web2, we will like make easier the KYC system or the KYC for the banks. That's what they are more scary about. So we are trying to deal like we are in the middle of the Web2 and Web3 ecosystem, because governments. Why is the government involved in this? We want to facilitate the life of the citizens. That's why. That's our main goal. Our main goal is, hey, you can carry your inter-verified credentials and whichever you want. If it's like, I don't know, if Aave wants to issue verified credentials, they can take our code and start issuing verified credentials to the users or to the people that has a pool of a liquidity pool or some NFTs or the Go passport or the Gitcoin passport. So that was something that we were working on. We are trying to figure out how Quark ID will be like a stamp in the Gitcoin passport too. So we are really involved also in the Web3, but we need the use cases. We need the users to show about Quark ID that is not only the Buenos Aires city government involved. And something I didn't tell you about, guys, is that this is not a government protocol. It's built by the protocol, yes, but it's co-created with a lot of partners like private sector, and it's of course their information is in our GitHub and in our white paper and in the code.
Amazing.
That we will be showing tomorrow in the workshop. Sorry.
Fantastic. The final question is just, you mentioned a few use cases there, KYC systems for banks, Gitcoin passport, very exciting, etc. Blue sky thinking here. What are you most excited about? Like, which use case do you think will be transformative for Quark ID?
Oh, great question. The thing here for me, being a part of the team, it's like you go to Uzbekistan or some country, imagine any country in Asia, and they use their own protocol, they build their own protocol using the same standards, and I want to rent a car there, and they can read my verified credential issue, but the government, this is what happened in the real life. If you go to Europe and you want to rent a car, you will show your car license, and they have to trust in that piece of plastic, but it's not like verified. They say, hey, yes, it's the same side, it's like the same toll with mine, with here in the UK, I don't know. But this trust between people and a piece of plastic here, it's not like that way. We want to interoperate with another protocols built with another, I don't know, things, or how does these countries deal with this issue of bureaucracy, etc. And here in Argentina, we are building our main product focus on where the needs of from LATAM, and we want to interoperate between them. And I think that that's the big thing here. Renting a car in Europe and showing my Quark ID license issued by Buenos Aires city government, and read by, I don't know, the verifier being like a rental car place in I don't know, in London, and they say, hey, yes, I use here the IDAS or the UK Gov, and I can read this because we use the same standards. So I think that will be huge, and that's the work that we from the governments we have to start improving and start pushing because we really need that the entire Web2 ecosystem to get in about this. So our challenge it's also to show this like a non-crypto solution. We use the technology. Yes, we use blockchain technology, and it's super safe, and you can verify about it, and it's anchored on CK Sync, and we talk about CK Sync. But people at the last of the last of the day, they might know that they are not using the blockchain. You don't have to know that you are using blockchain. That's our main goal. This has to be mainstream, but nobody has to know what is really happening. Of course, that we like technology, the people here in the call might know about which are the components, how was this build, what's this next, show me the roadmap, show me the MVP. I want to do them, of course, and we are doing that too. But the main goal here for us is the users, that this will facilitate the people, that you can carry your entire verified credentials here and you can show them instantly and for free. That's for
Amazing.
us like digital public good.
Absolutely, like interoperable standards between countries, organizations, institutions, and more is definitely blue sky thinking. But I think every single person on this call and at Mobilis and beyond will be thinking, yes, please build that. So very excited with Quark ID. Congrats, super interesting project, and excited to see where it goes. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Alfonso.
Thank you, guys. And again, this is a call to action. You know, we are like we are open source, and the last month in February, yes. And tomorrow we are going to organize to have this workshop in the Muy Buenos. So we expect like builders there. So
Brilliant.
we are going to wait you there, everybody. So thank you very much for the space, Shane and the team, and see you around.